I just ran a music marketing summit with 17 experts in the music industry, and I wanted to share some highlights on this channel. So enjoy the next 15 minutes of Music Marketing Gold and let me know in the comments which one of these tips or which one of these speakers was your favorite. And if you came to the summit, let me know what video or what thing we did was your favorite. Anyways, let's get into it. What is an earworm? Let's start with that.
Okay, so an earworm really is just a song that gets stuck in your head. There's a book called On Repeat from Elizabeth Helmuth Margulis, who's genius. I actually reread it last week, so it's very fresh in my mind. But it's the idea that we now, what a lot of music promotion has turned into is, instead of 20 years ago, you'd hear a whole song on the radio, you get it in, you'd watch MTV, you'd hear a whole song, get it in your head. We now have is tiny snippets. The best part of a song is often how we hear something and then we're like, oh, that's good. And then also, while we're scrolling through social media, we'll hear that song repeatedly and it'll often wear in and then finally get in our head. So the earworm happens. And then what I coined as the earworm era is that is now the greatest driver of what is getting popular, in whether it's the most niche weird genres of like ambient music onto what's on the pop charts, as evidenced by, we just had a year-end charts, and if you looked at what those songs were, they usually correlated pretty well to TikTok and social media trends of songs, particularly Boy's a Liar, which was the most dominant song of the year in many, many ways.
Rick, so if you only had 1 minute to give artists the best music marketing advice you could possibly give them, what would you say? 1 minute on the clock.
Yes, get the music right before you start the marketing. Too often, artists are just recording poor written songs, poor produced songs. They're putting it out into the world. And then once you get the right music, stay as consistent as you possibly can. There were 6,000 TikToks a minute uploaded today. And what's going to make you stand out? One, it's going to be your music. One, it's going to be understanding the platforms. And once again, just get the music right before you start the marketing. Understand that the word business is much longer than the word music, and really grab yourself around the concept that every day it's up to you to get your music out into the world. All right, 41 seconds.
Yeah, you got 20 seconds to spare. Perfect. You don't even need a whole minute. Ariel, where do you think PR fits in the modern music artist marketing nowadays?
This is a phenomenal question because the standard industry answer is at the beginning. And I think that is the worst advice that a lot of artists get. So just to back into that question, a lot of musicians and artists and labels and people call me and say, my track is ready, my album is ready, I'm going to hire PR. And that is a very old school way to think. I think back in the day, that was an effective path. It is not anymore. And here's why. If you do not understand yourself, your brand, your genre, your voice, what you're saying on social media, what you look like to the outside world, and you don't have a story building, publicity will do nothing for you.
John, which 3 tactics or music marketing methods would you most recommend for music artists to get started from day one of promoting their music?
I actually did just do a YouTube video where I talked about the top tactics that I used in the previous year. I will give you my top 3 tactics from that video, and then I'll step back and give you like a bigger picture answer. Organic social is my third favorite tactic. Email marketing was my second, and my very favorite was meta ads. In the video, I noted that it was a very subjective list, so I wouldn't necessarily say that meta ads are the best tactic to get started with from day one, but they are a very fun and effective way to build an audience. And then if I were going to step back on that question, I think the important thing to think about if you're considering tactics in the toolbox is like, what is your objective?
Adam, if you only had 1 minute to give music artists the best music marketing advice you possibly could, what would you say?
If I only had 1 minute and the clock starts right now, it would be you need to be seen in order to be heard. And in 2024, 25, and beyond, we have so many tools and resources at our fingertips to be able to go out there and build a brand, build a reputation, build relationships with people. And so instead of overthinking your content, overthinking your music videos, thinking that you have to have a $5,000 camera and a this and that, just use what you have till what you have pays for what you want. Get out in front of the people, reply to every comment, every DM, reply to comments on other people's content, get that attention, because the more attention you get that you can bring in, then top of funnel, that's all the people, then you narrow it down, narrow it down, narrow it down. Content marketing, inbound marketing, being able to be a good communicator, understanding how to connect with your target audience, who you're talking to, why they should care about you. That's going to be the key to get them, the vehicle to get them to your music. And then from there, it's your responsibility to keep them with single release strategy, with more content, with real relationships, with building a community. That's what it all boils down to.
And rather than talking about all the ways you could grow on social media, I want to do the opposite. Take the reverse approach. How could you guarantee that you'd never grow or you'd even shrink on social media? How could you do that? You never tell anyone about your music. And I want you to make 2024 the year you shout from the rooftops about your art. Because if no one knows about your music, we can be pretty sure they aren't going to buy from you. Merch, gig tickets, VIP meet and greets, and you'll never become a full-time artist if you never tell people about the art. And we laugh, I know we're playing, but some of you are doing this right now. That you're thinking next year is going to be my year, but you don't put enough effort and energy into manifesting your future career. You're just talking about it.
Jason, what are some of the best reasons why artists should use SubmitHub?
Woo! Okay. The internet is a landmine of dangerous marketing techniques. And I think over the last 8 years, we've established ourselves as probably the most transparent and trustworthy of those services. I know there are other legitimate services out there, but really, I've made it our mission to be trustworthy, transparent. You can see everything up front. In the context of your audience, many folks are probably looking at Spotify as one of their bigger objectives or measures of success. And SubmitHub obviously is a platform that you can go to and submit to playlists. So I'll assume that anyone here has watched all of Andrew's videos and they've seen your ultimate guide to SubmitHub and all that type of stuff. But I think for me, I've realized that independent playlists are part of a greater promotional strategy.
Alex, if you only had 1 minute to help someone who wants to start an independent record label get started, what would you say? 1 minute on the clock.
Wonderful. I can take even less than that. Step number 1, hire a lawyer, put together an agreement for you and the artist that you sign. Step 2, find a distributor. Step 3, find someone that will trust you, release their music. That is it.
Bam. Holy crap. Wow. I think that might be a record for how fast someone's answered one of my 1 minute questions.
I like to frame this question to people by saying, think about bands or artists that exist right now that have fans that you think would also like your music. That's the way I like to put this question. I don't like phrasing it as think about bands or artists that you sound like, because that's, we like to think that music is original and you're putting out something original. You're not copying someone else, but also placing the question in that light kind of limits us in the things that we can think about. You'll see what I mean in just a second. So think about who's making music right now who may have fans that also like your stuff. It doesn't even necessarily have to be in the same genre as your music.
Why should I put my music on a playlist? Can I send all my fan traffic, my promotion directly to the song? And the answer is yes, you can. But there is a gigantic benefit to putting it on a playlist. And to show you this, I'm going to hop back over into Spotify for Artists. I'm going to scroll down past the editorial playlist into the listener playlist. Here we are. This is John Gold playlist. And you can see that this playlist on 33,000 listeners is getting nearly 400,000 streams. So that means for every listener I'm driving to my song on the playlist, I'm not just getting 1 stream or 2 streams or 3 streams. On average, I'm getting 12 streams. And this means this promotion is not just going to grow the song that I'm promoting here, it's going to grow lots of my other songs at the same time. And obviously, the streams convert into royalties, and that's why I'm getting a lot more royalty. It also raises the popularity score that I have as an artist on Spotify. So this is just an amazing way of getting the most of every fan.
Matt, if you only had 1 minute to give music artists the best music marketing advice you possibly could, what would you say? 1 minute on the clock.
Oh God. Genuinely, and I say this all the time, is genuinely just go to shows. Like, the most valuable thing you can do is make direct one-on-one interactions with other people in your particular scene, whatever that is. And the best thing you can do, it's and if you look at how any artist succeeds, they never say, "Oh, I figured out ads and got really good at that, and then blah 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 blah. Now I'm famous," right? Like that might be a part of it, but that wasn't the thing.
Right.
The thing that makes all these artists pop off is they built community. And if you look at them, they'll all be like, "Oh, and then I had this friend, and so we did this other thing together, and that was really cool. And then this led to this other opportunity, and we were all just really passionate kids hanging out, having a good time." And that's what works, is building community. And the best way to build a community is not in the DMs, although that works, but moreover at shows, talking to people.
Wendy, if you only had 1 minute to give music artists the best advice you possibly could, what would you say? 1 minute on the clock.
All right. I would say to keep saying yes and doing and creating things that thrill you. If there's an opportunity in front of you, this is the opportunity, the people, the thing, what you'd learn, being in over your head. This is what you'll think you'll get out of it. Take that away. You have no idea the results. So if you do something for like, oh, but I'm going to be working with that person and that's going to give me opportunities. No, you don't know if that's true at all. But do you like the thing? Do you like the people? Do you like the hang? If you keep choosing things that you think you're going to just enjoy, the people, the experience, the learning, the growth, I'm getting paid to learn, I'm going to be challenged. If you keep doing that, you're literally just going to create a life you love, and more opportunities come out of these type of situations.
So why should you get into licensing your songs if you're a artist, a producer, a composer, or a beat maker? Well, because somebody needs your songs. That's right. There are TV shows right now looking for some of the songs you're putting out on Spotify, looking to feature them in montages, in car chase scenes, in crazy different scenes that they have. And your music is just sitting there. And sometimes, and you know who you are, it's just sitting on your hard drive because you haven't even put it out on Spotify yet. That cool indie rock song that is quirky and kind of stylish and doesn't really fit as a single, but would fit really cool in a scene on a television show or a movie. That goofy song you wrote about a taco that seems so silly, but would work great in an advertisement. This is what people are seriously looking for.
Dorian, if you only had 1 minute to give music artists the best marketing advice you possibly could, what would you say?
That's a tough question. Only 1 minute, so like it's already ticking. I'm already losing time. No, what I would say most probably is that as an independent artist, emerging artist, it's very tough to stand out. It's very hard because there are a lot of music out there, a lot of music being released every day, 120,000 tracks every day. So something I would say would be to try seizing every opportunity you see your way. And especially if someone is motivated enough to offer you to do something and showcase your music, I think in the beginning, you should always say yes. And then you have the luxury to say no.
Giovanni, what are the biggest do's and don'ts when it comes to artists marketing their music with advertising?
Good question. I would say the first one would be, I would say a lot of artists, when they put their music out there and they try to convert a stranger to a listener and then to a fan, is they lead to, hey, I have this thing that I want you to do, so please go and do it now. Which is as if I was, I don't know, Nike. And without any storytelling of any sort, I would say, hey, there is this shoe that we have for sale. You should go to our website now and buy it. But the problem is, without any sort of storytelling aspect, without any specific reason, without any engaging element to it, that's not how people work in general. And I think not a lot of artists, labels, whatever, put enough effort to create some sort of storytelling aspect behind their ads that they put out there, so much that when someone actually goes to their Spotify, Apple Music, or whatever, they don't just listen to the music and that's it. But because there was this storytelling aspect to it, they are actually they are almost already pre-sold on the idea of continuing to explore these artists or bands.
So, Tamima, what would you say to someone who says my social media content isn't working and how do I fix it?
I would say the number one problem that artists face with their content is that their editing is done improperly. So it's not actually the content that's not working. You're not shadow banned. There's two things when it comes to shadow banning. So shadow banning, number one, you could be making bad content. So your content is just not up to par, meaning that the editing, the hook is not good. Same thing if you pick up a movie, a book, and you watch first like trailer, a little bit, first few pages, and it's trash, you're gonna scroll. Same thing with content, first 3 seconds, trash, you're gonna scroll. So what shadow banning really is that if you pivot your content too quickly, so if you start by having this background that I have, this window, and all my content has this window, and then all of a sudden I'm outside, your algorithm doesn't know who you are anymore.
So while the summit is over, you can still get access to the VIP replays using the link in the description. If you want more free music marketing content, you can check out this video where I show you how to get your first 1,000 monthly listeners on Spotify for free, or this video where I show you how to get 1 million streams your first year releasing music. Anyways, thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you next video. Bye.